Hello Internet, and welcome to part 3 of my Pokemongold Nerflocke. Before we continue, I just want to remind everyone that this video series is to use the available Johto Pokemon with a bad moveset that reflects off their poorer stats. While using hardcore Nuzlocke rules will be listed in the description below. Time for Morty. I was nervous going into the fight, so I started with Gatortot. He ran right up to the first Ghastly, and with his enormous jaw strength, chewed down into the ball of gas so fast and so hard, it dispersed it into nothingness. This is going good. Very good indeed. Morty brought out his first Haunter, so I swapped out to Bullwinkle. Bullwinkle surprised me here, as with his jaw strength, he got a critical hit, and one-shots the Haunter. Little did Morty know, Bullwinkle was out for blood from the loss of his friends. Bullwinkle then faces against Morty's Gengar. My prep work was unnecessary, as Bullwinkle's thirst for vengeance came into fruition of back-to-back flinch luck against the Great Ghost and the final Spectre. I am aghast with how easily these two Pokemon gnawed their way through this battle. I cannot express my gratitude I have for them enough. I am hopeful that the rest of this run is better than what was happened thus far. Gatortot, Bullwinkle, thank you. You two have restored my faith and confidence in this run. With the Burnt Tower rival battle, Gatortot took down the Ghastly. Swiss Roll was paralyzed and confused by Magnemite, but got off a strong Fire Punch, swapping out to Blissey to take it down with another Fire Punch. Blissey almost took down the Zubat with Thunder Punch, but got confused. I brought Swiss Roll back out to take down the bat as he hit through paralysis. Meganium hit a hard critical Razor Leaf on Swiss Roll, but both him and Blissey showed it the song of fire and ice. I brought out Vi to show the Kimono Girls the optimal evolution for this run, and in turn getting Surf to teach it to Blissey. I'm choosing Blissey as I am planning on teaching Waterfall to Gatortot. After item hunting, I made my way to the next available encounter, Mantine. Now we have Jefferson. As per the rules of the run, Jefferson will need to use physical moves to take advantage of his flying type. During training, Gatortot evolved. Chuck leads off with Primate, as always. I lead with Gatortot. Scary Face so I can move faster, and Ice Punch for possible freeze or flinch. I swapped to Wandissimo to land a Stun Spore. Then out to Bullwinkle and got a Confuse Ray. Out to Benedict, Swift, to take down the monkey. With trying to keep Poliwrath confused, he ended up putting most of the team to sleep and getting most of their health low. Eventually, with the damage he was doing from Surf and all the dynamic punches, I thought Guinevere could survive a hit, but I miscalculated and she went down. I'm sorry, Gwen. You couldn't become the queen you were meant to be. Gatortot came back out to do what Gators do. Chomp. But this was one chewy toad. I went back to Jasmine to turn in the secret potion for Amphi so she can return to her gym. We'll see her shortly. I went across the way towards Mahogany Town where I could get my next two encounters. Beep the Mareep from outside Mount Mortar and Racecar the Girafarig from north of town, just below Lake of Rage. The rocket hideout in town was a breeze, just had to do some experience management to stay under the level cap. For price, I'm going with Race Car, Vi, Gator Taunt, Blissey, Swiss Roll, Reefer. Swiss Roll took down Seal, then put Dugong into rest range, swapping out for Reefer, who was able to get off a rollout sweep over his Dugong and Piloswine, even with Dugong setting up rest to try to prevent the inevitable. With the 6th badge in hand, allowing the use of Whirlpool outside of battle, I can pick up one more encounter before heading to Jasmine. There we are. Horsey, my little sweet pea, come join the family. Now, Elizabeth is with us. We just need to get everyone up to level 35 to match Jasmine's Steelix. During training, Elizabeth evolved into Seadra. Not much use right now since she doesn't get her dragon typing just yet. For Jasmine, the team is Blissey, Swiss Roll, Vi, Race Car, and 1 Decimo. Blissey outspeeds and one-shots the first Magnemite, but not the second, so she gets paralyzed and confused, then hits herself, but breaks through for the second Fire Punch to burn out the magnet. Due to paralysis, Steelix outspeeds, but she misses the Iron Tail. Blissey safely heals up with Milk Drink, then lands a Fire Punch, which looks to be a 3-shot. Steelix misses the next Iron Tail, and Blissey is stuck paralyzed. We heal again. After the next Iron Tail lands on Blissey, she gets a defense drop and prevented from moving, so I bring out 1 Decimo to try to paralyze her, and we land it. I swap Mons around to drop Iron Tail's PP. Swiss Roll gets off a good hit. Vi was able to help with Sand Attack. I tried to bring Blissey back out to heal herself, but apparently Jasmine gets the paralysis luck, and I get stuck 3 turns in a row, while Steelix crushes my poor cow. Swiss Roll, having the only other special moves available, comes out to get revenge on Steelix. Luckily, it got paralyzed for the easy takedown. In hindsight, I could have used Surf instead of Fire Punch, so that's my own fault. I'm sorry, Blissey, I wasn't thinking at the time. Getting back to the storyline, fortunately I lost Vi to a crit self-destruct from coughing, which was a horrible loss. It does mean that I have to rework who will be my psychic user. I almost lost 1 Decimo to a crit sludge from a wheezing, because of course, the same enemy has to get more than 1 crit in a battle. Benedict came back out to lay on some charm, so Swiss Roll could safely scurry in to use a wheezing as a surfboard. The radio tower rival was actually hard for some reason. Maybe I just wasn't paying enough attention, but he had almost everyone in yellow at the end of it. Almost lost 1 Decimo to poison because I didn't have healing items, and the Poke Center was just close enough that he didn't faint from the overworld poisoning. The radio tower final executive wasn't too bad, but almost lost Reefer to a crit feint attack from Houndoom, but her rollout was built up enough to make her stand. This was another close call. You know, I really should be preparing more. I have to pay much more attention going forward, but luckily there is not much left. But for now, our focus is Claire, so gotta grind everyone up to level 40, but on our way to Blackthorn, we are able to snag up Swinub from the Ice Path. Welcome, Candace, I'm sure you could be helpful going forward. And just to call it captured, I encountered a Gligar instead of Teddiursa. Claire was not too difficult. Swiss Roll amazingly dodged getting paralyzed through all 3 of her Dragonairs, then decked her Kingra with the coldest of ice punches to get the freeze, all in preparation for Elizabeth to come in for the honor battle. After a few trades of dragon moves and a leer, Elizabeth demolished Claire with a headbutt. Now, all that's left is the Elite Four, Kanto Gyms, and Red. For the sake of keeping this video under 1 hour, the only important battles to cover will be the Champion Battle, which if won means that I successfully completed the challenge. Then there are battles with Blue and Red. I know that most videos would consider stopping at Lance an incomplete challenge, but as this is my first video series for this challenge, I feel it's okay for me to call it complete after being registered in the Hall of Fame, if I get there. Starting us off though is the final rival battle, but between Gatortot and Elizabeth, he was a pushover. But Swiss Roll did jump in to help with his Magneton. Overall, he did not do a good job for himself. For the Elite Four, I led with Beep with each of them. He was holding the amulet coin because having more money with these challenges is better than nothing, but Beep did still have Thunder Wave, so at the very least he could paralyze something before swapping out for the needed Pokemon. There were still a few close calls with each of the four. Will's Slowbro was hitting pretty hard with Psychic, but it still went down. Reefer was a big help with his Zatus. Koga kept poisoning me, but was not too difficult to manage with Reefer's Recover to whittle down Muck. Bruno was a pushover as always, until Machamp came out, hitting cross chops all over the place, but to no prevail, as he succumbed to defeat. Karen ended up being the easiest of the four due to my type coverage across my movesets. With her defeat, it marks this Nerflocke one battle away from being officially complete. Although we did end up losing Race Car in the process with the Elite Four, he died to a crit. Rest well, my friend. The only one standing between me and completing this is Lance. As with the Elite Four, I start with Beep, and Lance starts with Gyarados. Beep lands the Thunder Wave, and Gyarados ends up going for Rain Dance. I know he has Hydro Pump, so I have Beep set a Light Screen. Then he goes for Hyper Beam. Thankfully, we took that like a champ for less than half, but it puts us in the crit range. I was taking Beep out regardless this turn. So it gives me a free switch. Angie comes out to land a 4 times effective Thunder Punch and leaves him in the red. Gyarados goes for Surf, but even with the rain to boost its stab Surf, it only did 27 points of damage. If I had brought Swiss Roll instead of Angie, he would have done far more damage. Up next is Dragonite number 1. I bring Beep back out, but unfortunately he goes for a Hyper Beam as I go for a Thunder Wave. I could have swore they go for Thunder Wave first turn, but Beep takes the hit well, surviving in the red, and ends up being unusable for the rest of the battle. I don't want to lose him. I bring out Reefer, which in hindsight wasn't the best play, but the fact that I now outspeed, I get not just 1 flinch from the headbutt, but 2 flinches in a row thanks to him holding the King's Rock, as the strength that follows adds to the damage. I have him in the yellow, and he responds with a Thunder Wave of his own, then a nasty Thunder, bringing Reefer down to the yellow. Thank you, buddy, but I can't lose you. Time to swap out. I bring out Elizabeth as he misses a Thunder, and I Dragon Breath my way through both Dragonite 1 and 2. But then he brings out number 3. I know number 3 has Outrage, and I can't lose Elizabeth. If I do, I can kiss this run goodbye, and I don't want to start over again. I had to make a sacrifice. Beep, I'm sorry, but you're the only option since Race Car was taken out before. With Beep's sacrifice, I bring out Gatortot to land some hardy Ice Punches, which eventually takes out Dragonite number 3. Next is Charizard, who lands a Hyper Beam, but 2 Surfs take him down. Last is Aerodactyl, but Gatortot is low. I swap in Angie, unfortunately on a Hyper Beam. If I don't get good luck here, I am losing very valuable team members. But Angie takes the hit well, returns with a Thunder Punch, and gets the paralysis, which locks in my win. Thank you, Angie. You are the last addition to the team, and a valuable one at that. With my entry into the Hall of Fame, my first ever Nuzlocke is complete. But that's not all with this game. There's a whole nother 8 badges to get, and 2 more battles as mentioned before. But the Kanto gyms are not much to go over. They're all pushovers. Unfortunately, my overconfidence with them led to me making mistakes in Kanto. I ended up losing Angie because I wasn't paying attention, and even after getting a Slugma, he died in a trainer battle. I lost out on many encounters over there due to a lack of pokeballs, and ultimately the last encounter in my run that would have been Larvitar died because I miscalculated Wandissimo's power. But of all Kanto gyms, the only one to make note of is Blue. I brought my viable team members up to his level cap and did what I could, knowing he's the hardest of the Kanto gyms. He starts with Pidgeot, so I start with Reefer. A stab ancient power brings his bird down to the yellow, where he only goes for Whirlwind, which brings out Gatortot. I can only imagine the look on this bird's face when it forced out the little coral reef to bringing out a giant, intimidating alligator, who ultimately runs up to it and slams its ice-cold fist into its dumb beak. Yes, he made a huge misplay. Run through his team, Gatortot. You got this. Gatortot flails through the Executor, who tries to set up a Solar Beam. Alakazam sets up a Reflect, thinking it'll save his team from Gator's rampage. But I use Scary Face to lower its speed so I can try for flinches with Bite. He lands a decent Psychic, while I could feel the fear climbing to critical levels, while once again Gator munches his way through a powerful opponent. Next was Gyarados. Blue was trying to display his own dominance for a powerful water type, but fails to land a Hydro Pump. Poor Blue. Gator shows Gyarados the meaning of intimidation with a Scary Face. That way, I could bring out Wandissimo to Stun Spore him, after Wandy did his job while tanking a Hyper Beam. Reefer comes out to show this Water Onyx the meaning of power, as he calls upon the ancients. They grant Reefer with the all-divine Omni Boost. I cannot believe what is happening here. This is insanity. Next was Rhydon. But since Reefer can't deal with him, he has to let someone else proceed through, showing Blue the meaning of humility. One waterfall from Elizabeth after a full count Fury attack of all things brings out the final Pokemon, Arcanine. But the Queen was not playing games and showed this legendary dog the true power of royalty, ending this battle with a critical hit. God damn, that was a satisfying battle. I was surprised at this turnout. I feel good. I got this. I can fully complete this run. Now, for the hardest battle, Red. Let's just train everyone up. I went with 73, his lowest leveled Pokemon, because it felt more appropriate. Little did I know how wrong I was. As always, Red leads with Pikachu, so I lead with Wandissimo so I can paralyze it. He goes for a Thunder. Weird, he normally starts with Charm, but he misses. But then I miss Stun Spore. I ended up landing the Stun Spore eventually, while Pikachu kept going for Thunder and not Charm. I wonder why he's doing this. Maybe because it's seeing I'm a Grass type, so I must not be capable of physical damage? Or he's seeing the damage as preferable to stat decrease. Either way, we go back and forth between him landing and missing Thunders, me paralyzing him, and cutting the mouse down to size. All just to have him heal up. And my Moonlight is not doing enough healing for me, so I focus on power, so eventually to take down the franchise's mascot. Next was Venusaur. After some consideration, I bring out Elizabeth on a Solar Beam startup to try to get both damage and paralysis from Dragon's Breath. But the Queen was not dealing with this grass toad any longer and brought it down with a critical. Next was Espeon. I know it'll hit hard, but I can hit it harder with physical moves. I have Elizabeth go for a headbutt as it goes for Psychic, but this cat came out with a vengeance and takes down the Queen with a crit of its own. Here is where I learned that before making it to Red, Blue called him to inform of my arrival, and Red was seeking justice for his friend. Learning that his plan was justice, I grew into a panic. I brought Wandissimo back out to try to paralyze Espeon, but I missed. Then I had to be correct on my choice here. I swap out Gatortot on a hard Psychic and land a soft bite. My panic and anxiety grew so much, and my next few moves spelled out my downfall. Down went Gator Tot, my starter. Out came Reefer, who did not take Psychic well, but got off damage to bring this cat into the yellow. Out came Candace, whose ice was able to finish it off after it took down my most powerful team members. Next was Charizard, and all I had left was Candace and one Decimo. Ice ground and grass versus a fire type. This was it. I could not survive no matter what I did. I ended up having to sit back and watch as this pseudo-dragon roasted my Bankin, then lit my garden aflame while trampling against my finite remnants of my team. Red got his justice. I got humbled, and this challenge is over. Although I did complete it, I can't exactly call this a win. I will return one day and show Red he was wrong. Thank you all for watching. This has been a wonderful experience to build this challenge. I invite you all to try it for yourselves. Please leave a like if you think I deserved to get humbled. Please comment if you think Red needs to be brought down. Please subscribe to pay respect to my fallen Pokemon. And please remember, be excellent to each other.